Okie dokie. Alright, where was I going? Where was I going with this? The power of human imagination. Saving the childlike empress from the nothing. Okay, so Bastion, the protagonist in the movie and the books, right? Book. Bastion, let's see, what do I remember about Bastion? Bastion's a boy, and he is healing or going through the process after losing his mother. His mother passed away, and he lives with his father. And his father is very focused on, let's see, I'm kind of getting like Bastion is more of this creative energy, or like more imaginative, and then Bastion's father is more of this linear thinking, logical, focused on like he tries to keep Bastion from getting his head stuck in the clouds in some way. He tries to like keep him down on earth. And so I don't know how to explain this. Very like focused on the 3D realm, focused on what's expected of him to be doing, like what he should be doing. Stop dreaming, imagining. Forget your hopes and dreams. Just do this, almost authoritarian from what I can remember. And I'm kind of seeing that as like Bastion's father supporting the nothing energy, right? But Bastion being more in alignment with Fantasia's energy, Fantastica's energy. Atreyu is, I don't know, Atreyu is a boy from the realm of Fantasia, I believe. I could be wrong. He exists in that realm, whereas Bastion is on the human world realm. And Atreyu is kind of like the version, Atreyu is like the warrior version of Bastion. The childlike empress. Let's see. When humans stop dreaming, she becomes ill, and her realm is destroyed by the nothing. Yeah, so like, the childlike empress, she survives because Bastion gives... Oh, okay, that's ahead of the thing. She gets her power from external supply, reliant on others in a way, having hopes, dreams, and imagination. And it's like when we talk about being reliant on others for that, it's not because of inability, lack of self-reliance, but because of who she truly is and what she represents. It's like, it's not that she's like codependent, or in a way, yes, but that's just in this fantasy world, right? It's her vitality, the vitality of the realm she rules over. It's all determined by the hopes, the dreams, imagination of those in the human realm, right? So it's like it all depends on this power source from this other realm. When people start losing the imagination, the hope, she gets sick. And the cure, her sickness is cured because Bastion gives her a new name. And it's like, by giving her a new name, it's like, he's like acknowledging her truth, who she really is in some way. But she needs someone else to tell that to her because of who she is and how she naturally exists in this realm. It's like, it's different than the human realm. It's different than how things are in the human realm. Because of who she truly is and what she represents. She represents power through innocence. The power, she has great power and respect because of her innocence. It's like a sense of purity. It's like her qualifications to rule that realm are because of her innocence and purity. Childlike Empress. Her sickness, the cure. Her sickness, the cure. The sickness and the cure show how the fantasy world and reality need each other. It's like it's showing how imagination, creativity, like this energy number 2 way of thinking, of perceiving, feeling, expressing, navigating the world is necessary for the more like worldly way of doing things, the more logical way of doing things. And then somewhere in here, I'll get to that later. This is kind of hard to navigate because I don't know if you can see, but there's no structure here. It's all very like interconnected, and I don't know which way to go. She survives because Bastion gives her a new name. So eventually he gives her the name of Moonchild, which I believe is relevant. It's related to his mom in some way. Moonchild. And again with the moon, right? Howling at the moon. Pisces, Cancer energy. Moonchild. That's her new name. That's her like authentic name. Moonchild. But then with name change, right? I kind of got like new identity. Seeing different, being different. Being seen differently, being different in some way. Not logical. Oh, but in a way it is. This is a crazy mess is what I wrote here. And it is. If you could see this clearly, it's a crazy mess. It's like a jumbled up. And for some reason, this is just how I did it. It makes no sense. It's completely different than how this energy number 1 started. So I'm like, there's a lot of differences here in like operating systems. It's like someone here lives in the Fantasia realm, and someone else lives on like the human earthly realm in some way. It's like the rules are different. The ways are different. The rules are different. The rules are different. Interesting. Rules are different. Okay. And interesting. Childlike is important, and I was getting that from over here too, right? The energy, the more like nostalgic, the more like silly, like sibling kind of energy. Like there's something about that energy, but childlike is important for some reason. Childlike is important, and then it's weird because I don't know why I did this. I don't know if you can see this, but under or around childlike is important. I underlined it like 5 million times. And then I put a square around it, and I put like circles around the square, and it reminds me of, what are those? Theater, like movie, like those signs that have the lights all around, like billboards in some way. Is that the right word? Billboard? And then I keep being drawn back to the birdcage, and I'm like, there's a movie called The Birdcage, right? I haven't seen it in maybe since it came out. But there's something about it. Is it like the cover of it? Does the cover of that movie, like the DVD or VHS cover, whatever, does it have like these lights on it? The Birdcage movie. I don't know. I don't remember anything about what it's about. The Birdcage. But I remember something about like performing, or there's something about that. Childlike is important though. And I think it's an emphasis on childlike, like what that means. Because there's a difference between, where did I put it? A difference between, oh, not immature. Yeah, it's right there. Not immature. Childlike is different than childish. And I think that's important in some way. It's like if, I don't know. We'll get into it later once we get more into like energy 1 and energy 2. Like the combination. Okay, so we're talking about nothing, right? Hopelessness, depression, despair, chaos. And then I started going, what happened? Okay, after I wrote this down, hopelessness, depression, despair, and chaos, I saw 1984 because at this point, there was nothing that came after 1984. There was nothing over here. And I started doing math with it. I do that a lot with numbers. I add them. I just naturally see numbers and I try doing math with them. And then I started thinking of like A Beautiful Mind. There's that movie A Beautiful Mind, right? Is that Russell Crowe maybe? And then I was like, I can't remember if he was crazy or brilliant, you know what I mean? In my mind, I was like, I don't know, I can't remember. I just remember there being like aspects of both. And then I started thinking like struggles with mental health issues or something like that. Or I wrote insane, like insanity. But then I wrote not how it seems though, question mark. Like there's something here about, I don't know what this is. But I think someone, and then with numbers, math, there's something here about someone's mind. And I think it's this energy number 2. I think it's this person's mind. Energy number 2. The way their mind works. There's something about that. But it's almost as if like, not how it seems though, crazy, but in a good way. Given power and respect because of her innocence. This is all connected. Someone's innocence, their purity, the way they think, and how they might appear, or there's something about that. Because it's like, okay, when there's children, right? When we're children, we're very imaginative. We're very, like we say some weird shit, right? Kids say weird stuff. But we don't look at them like they're crazy. We look at them like they're kids. And I'm kind of getting that it's like that energy. There might be something about that with the childlike empress, right? There's a reason why I've been focusing on childlike empress. Because seems like a child, but she's an empress, question mark. It's like there's a way this empress is perceived, or this energy is perceived, that is confusing or misunderstood. Yeah, misunderstood, big period. And I'm starting to notice I do the big period where like I'm very serious about something. Misunderstood, underlined period. It's like there's something about this childlike empress energy that's very misunderstood. Maybe because of like how they're perceived by others, or there's something about that. And I think that they have more of this energy number 2 to them in some way. And they're only misunderstood by those who possess more energy number 1 operating systems. Crazy, but in a good way. Yeah, there's something about this number 2 energy. Not how it seems though. Struggles, mental health, insane. So this is someone who might have been perceived as being like unstable or mentally unwell, or this is something they genuinely have struggled with. But I'm getting more of like, this is just the perception. Perceiving, thinking, feeling, expressing, navigating the world. There's major differences. Not how it seems though. And then I drew the moon. Math, the moon. Not immature. Dyslexia. Someone might be dyslexic in some way. I don't know how that shows up. But throughout all of this writing, not today, but this took me 2 days to come up with. This was day number 1 and it started over here, and then this is day number 2. But I kept mixing up my words. And I do that honestly maybe 1 out of every, I don't know, let's say 100 letters I write, I'll mess it up. I'll get them backwards. Like I'll go to write the point, and I'll go the, and then I'll go like this, even though I'm very aware that's not how you spell point. It's just things get backwards or like mixed up. And I don't know if that's dyslexia. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't happen to me enough to be like, oh, maybe I should figure that out. But throughout all of this, I repetitively did it. It was all the time. So I don't know if there's something about that. And again, I know dyslexia shows itself in various ways, but I don't know anything about it, so I can't speak on it. Dyslexia. It was notable because I kept catching myself. I'm like, damn, I'm really mixing up words, and I usually don't. I've done it, but very rarely. But this was a constant, like, if you were able to see this closely, you'd see all the times I had to go over stuff because I messed it up. Alright, seeing different, being different. She's an empress, question mark. Looks are deceiving, beneath the surface. Oh, yeah. Beneath the surface, looks are deceiving. Seems like a child, but she's an empress. Misunderstood. Crazy, but in a good way. Random, canned fruit. Canned fruit, preserved, non-perishable, withstands time, as good as what you choose to do with it. So it's like, I don't know where this came from. Canned fruit, as good as what you choose to do with it. It's non-perishable, it withstands time. And then, as good as what you choose to do with it is connected to beneath the surface, looks are deceiving. And I'm like, I don't know what I necessarily was getting from that, but it's almost like, I don't know. Like judging, okay, so with canned fruit, right? If I'm to judge canned fruit, I'm going to say it's not as good as fresh fruit. It's not going to taste as good. It's probably not as healthy. You know, I'm going to doubt its integrity in some way. But I know that, you know, it's what you choose to do with it. If I were to judge canned fruit, I'd say, it's useless for making anything delicious, let's say. But there's ways to use that canned fruit in a way that ends up in a delicious treat. It's what you choose to do with it. You can choose to look at the canned fruit as garbage. That's what I was getting. I never wrote it down. Garbage. It's like seeing something as useless or like lacking quality in some way. Useless? Useless? Garbage, useless. But it's what you do with it. It's in the power of who's perceiving this canned fruit, who's going to cook with it. You know, there's a lot of ways canned fruit can be delicious. So there's something about that, and beneath the surface, looks are deceiving. There's something about that. Garbage, useless. It's like throwing something away without understanding its value, or without being able to see its value in some way. Because there's a lot of pros to canned fruit. It's preserved, non-perishable, it withstands time, it lasts a long time, or it's reliable. It's, yeah, there's something about that. Okay. We're almost to the point where we're going to talk about Energy 1 and Energy 2. Combination. Let's see. This is a crazy mess, yes. Not a clear path. Hard to predict. Okay. I'm like, logical, not logical. This is not logical, but in a way it is. Like, it makes sense, but at first glance it doesn't. Logical, not logical, but in a way it is. And then I started thinking like neurodivergency. And this is where I believe this is the first time I started thinking of like neurodivergency versus being neurotypical, right? Neurodivergent versus being neurotypical. ADHD might be a thing. Or it might be relevant in a situation. And then I started thinking like this chaos, right? How this chaos could be perceived by someone who doesn't understand it, or by someone who does things in a different way. Like, for example, like, okay, I could read this book, 1984. I could read this book, and like someone, they have a clear understanding of how they're going to read this book. It makes logical sense how this is set up, right? But then there's this. And someone who either their operating system is set up to read like this or to write like this might see this as pure chaos. But someone more in energy 2 whose software operates in a way that writes like this, or that can read like this, or understand this more, this doesn't necessarily seem like chaos. It's more like a different way of doing it, but it makes sense. That's why I wrote not logical, but in a way it is. It just depends on who's looking at it, as with the canned fruit, right? It depends on who's looking at it. Just because one person would look at this, where is it? Look at this and say, this is a hot mess, I don't understand it. Doesn't mean that it's not worth understanding or not understandable. It's just a way of perceiving, a way of thinking, feeling, expressing, navigating the world. ADHD, and it's like people who, let's see. You know how there's some people who, they operate best when their space is very organized, everything has its place, everything's carefully thought out, like where it's at, how it's organized, etc., right? But there's some people who thrive more on chaos. They thrive more, like, it's when, like, let's say someone's room is a mess, right? But that person knows exactly where everything is. They know where to find what they're looking for. They know exactly where it's at, even if it's not organized. There is no right or wrong way to do things. Some would say it's very important to have an organized space. But some might say, I don't work well with an organized space like that. Myself, I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle because I struggle with understanding how to navigate in an organized space. I get confused because the way my mind works is, I keep doing that. The way my mind works is more like this. So if something's set up, that's what I need to do. Where's my tracing paper? I don't know where my book is. I'm using this hand. It's fine. I've already transferred it to where it needs to go. Okay, so it's like, how can I do this? I need 2 separate pieces of paper. Some might say just get scissors or something, and I say no. Here we go. Hands are so hard to draw or paint or recreate in some way. But this is a damn good hand in my opinion. Anyways, okay. So it's like, what am I getting exactly before I write this or draw it? So it's almost like, okay, we have these 2 ways of doing something, right? And destination. And then we have this one. Let's connect them in some way. This is where they're at. And this is their destination. It's almost like, okay, this is my mind naturally. This is my mind naturally. When I have an organized space, it's like this straight line back here represents the organized space. and this is how my mind works, right? So it's like, I don't know how to explain this. Maybe it'll make sense. I'm just going to go with it. So my mind is naturally going to go about navigating this organized space and the way my mind naturally operates. So I'm going to like, I feel like this is a natural pull. So it's like, I'm not going to automatically look. How can I explain this? This is going to drive me nuts. I don't know. And I think it's the same with someone who, I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting with this yet. We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, moving on. ADHD. It's just different ways of doing things. Different ways. Instructions for same experience. Cut here. Yeah, it's like a way that works for someone might not work for another. And it's like being expected to do things the same as someone else in some way. Or, Then I got these two boxes, and I'm just going to try to recreate them here. It's like this is energy 1's mind, and this is energy 2's mind. Because I kept getting, like the pound sign symbol, the hashtag, and then this box with the 4 squares, right? And up here, I drew them all. I started with the pound sign, then I started with the squares within the square, and then it turned into like a checkerboard, because I'm like, okay, what are these combined? And it's like a checkerboard or a chessboard. Games, board games, checkmate, check, comma, mate, strategy, games, playing games. And I was like, okay, logical. This is more like logical. Logical strategy. And then that turned into, I'm like, okay, hold on a second. These are the 2 boxes that I drew. Let's just say this, and then it's like these 2 different minds. So it's like this mind here, right? This mind is very organized, logical, everything has its place. And then this mind here, there's still organization happening, it's just, it might make no sense. It might make no sense, or there's a different way of processing in this mind versus this mind. And it's like, this is person 1's mind, this is person energy 2's mind. You know, there's something about that. And I'm like, okay, why is this relevant? What's the point of us talking about this, right? And I'm like, is this like trying to get these 2 energies to work together in some way? And that's going to take us back to this, because it's almost like, let me do this. No, that's not helpful. Here we go. Problem solved. Yeah, here we go. This is going to make more sense. So it's like with this, right? It's like this is energy 1, the straight line, the linear way of thinking, right? This is their perspective of energy number 2. Or this might be relevant in some way. And it's like both, let's use this up here. Both see this as the starting point, around the same area. And then this is the goal. This is the end point here, right? And it's like energy number 1 is like, this is the path forward. And then energy 2 is like, no, this is the path forward in some way. Not that they're telling each other this is the path forward, but this is how each of these energies would go about doing that. And it's almost as if it's like there would need to be a compromise in some way. I need another, there would need to be a compromise between all of these, or both of these, to where it's like, because you can't, energy 1, this line, can't force this energy 2 to operate in this linear way. It can't be done. Maybe temporarily, for a short term, but it's not natural for energy number 2 to operate this way. And the same for energy 2. If they think that energy 1 would benefit from operating this way, that's not naturally how energy 1 operates or would benefit from operating. But it's like if these two, I almost said forced to work together, forced to, I don't know what this would be, but it's almost as if it's like the combination of both would be, okay, here's the starting point. You think the starting point's here, they think it's over here, in the middle. Oh, my Sharpie's dying. And then, okay, this is the destination. I think you think the destination's here. My goodness, I can't. Let's compromise. This is the destination in the middle. And it's like the path forward, right? Not a straight line, but not this wild curve. It would be more of like a compromised in between curve. And like that's the combined path. The path that works for both energies in some way. And it's like comparing it to this linear energy. It's not that far off. It's a little more out there. It's a little more flexible. A little more like going with the flow, right? And then for energy 2, it's also not that far off. It's a little more focused, a little more, what would be a good word? A little more grounded, I guess. Because if we're looking at this as more of a grounded, logical energy, and this is more of a fluid, like, creative energy, right? This would be the ideal, because it's not far off from both ways, and it respects both ways of operating, right? It's a compromise. I don't know what that means. I mean, it makes sense to me. I just don't know why, like, what the point of that would be. There was something else about this. There was something else about this. Oh, yeah. There's something about, like, the perspective. Because it's like, okay, what are we dealing with? Perceiving, thinking, feeling, expressing, navigating the world. So if we're to look at this, no, we can just do this. Okay. So let's say, what is this? What is this going to represent? This is how energy number 2 is perceiving energy number 1. Or how they, like, view something about this energy. You have this cross point here, this cross point here, here, and here. 4. Again, 4. 4 is significant. It's, okay, what am I getting here? Hold on. And it's going to be the same here. They're missing a lot. It's like there's, what am I, oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay. I don't know what this is going to mean, but I'm going to go with it. So, okay, let's do the same on this one. So this is how energy 1 would perceive, I guess, energy number 2. The same spots. It's like an understanding of something. What happens if you put this on this compromise way? Funny, it still matches up. That's funny. This is where it starts. Funny. Where's the end point? Interesting. it still lines up. Okay, what's going on here? What am I trying to say? Okay. So let's say this. This is what energy, this is how energy 2, this flowing energy, would see energy 1 in some way. It's like they are able, because it's what they have in common, or it's shared in some way, a shared experience. They're seeing these 4 points. And what about this? Perceiving, understanding. Energy 1 is seeing these 4 points. It's like energy 2, the flowing energy, is missing these. They're missing or not understanding this part of the process. The steps, like the steps, because I'm getting like this, the way this circle has the steps, right? Whereas this is like the energy number 2, which is more, I guess, flowy. Whereas this is more steps oriented in some way. And it's like, this is what energy 2 is missing about energy number 1. Steps. Right? Because these are the parts that energy 2 is able to see in some way. Their perception of the start and the perception of the end point. This is what they can see. But this is what they're missing in some way, or like understanding, or where the difference is. And then energy 1 is missing or not understanding or something. These parts, the curve, the like off path, that's what I'm kind of getting. It's like, okay, this is a path, let's say. This is a path. Let's just write on here, draw on here. This is the path. And it's like, energy 1 is like, the quickest way to get from point A to point B is straight down, right? Or the most effective way is straight down. But then energy number 2 would see this path, be like, oh, we're starting here. I think it would be best if we went over here, over here, and then we got here. And it's like, there's a very big difference in like the why, the reason why this would be the best path versus why this would be the best path. Does this make sense? This is wild. It's gotta make sense in some way. Because it's like, okay, this is what energy 2 is missing about energy 1. Okay? Steps. The circle with the steps, the path. And then this is what energy 1 is missing about energy 2 in some way. And I don't know if it's the value or importance or the reason, or I don't know why to go about something in a roundabout kind of way or off of a linear path, like not focusing on a direct path, the most efficient path. There's very different ways of operating here. And I think that that's what's missing with these two energies, is the understanding of why. And this isn't necessarily like a future path. This could be like the path in the past in some way. Like there's something about this where it's like, this is what's not understood by energy 1. And this is what's not understood about energy 2 in some way. The compromise would be, I don't know. I think it's the compromise. Or I don't know. There's something about this where it's like a combination of both. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what all this means, but it's there. What was I thinking earlier? Oh, the mind, with the boxes. The boxes. This is person one's mind. This is person two's mind, energy two. Their mind might seem a little bit chaotic, might seem like it makes no sense or it's not a good way to do something, but everything has its order in some way. Everything has its order, it's just different. And like putting these two boxes on each other, right? That, oh man, I don't think, that would be a nightmare. That would be like, it would take a lot of sorting out. It would take convincing of energy number one, like convincing energy number one to maybe like, I don't know. Here, how about this? How about, I'll have this box up here. How about this bigger box here? This long box here. And how about we separate this one into 4 circles stacked upon one another in some way? And it's like, it would still work. It's just outside of this, I don't know how to explain that. It's like a compromise between both in some way. The same as this path, slightly less curved, slightly more linear. It's like a win-win. It's equally beneficial in some way. I don't know what this is, what the point of it is. Here we go. Okay. Then we got, okay, because I had to look. I'm like, how does logic, because I see, if I'm to sum these two energies up, this is logic and this is creativity, right? And it's very similar to the Neverending Story, what's going on there. It's like the logical physical reality versus like the creative imaginative space of Fantasia, right? There's a bridge between them both. This is the bridge. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, there's a way. Logic plus creativity equals innovation. And that's according to the Google AI robot. But it makes sense. I further looked into it. But logic plus creativity is innovation. So this path would represent innovation. This box, this mind space would represent innovation. So it's like these two energies, despite their differences, would create innovation in some way. Innovation. New and effective and practical ways of doing things. It's like still practical, still grounded in reality, but it's new. It's new ways of doing things. Effective. At the same time, it's effective. It's like it still works. Creativity with logic equals innovation. So it's like these two energies combined are innovation, essentially. Innovation. I don't want to put marker on this. Innovation. And it's like each of these energies would have to compromise in a way. The energy number one, the logic side, right? They would have to be willing to see things differently or allow room for flexibility in some way. And then the energy number two would have to be willing to, oh man, what would they have to do? I said it earlier. Go about things in a more structured or logical way, a grounded way. Yeah, because what's happening is bringing like creative ideas into an effective and practical grounded place. They'd have to be willing to focus and ground concepts or the energies in some way. put some more, like, where's the box that I drew? Like the box that I drew. It's like having this, what appears to be a chaotic, it's more fluid, honestly. That's how I'm picking up. It's more fluid. It's less obvious how things are organized, but it's still organized. Versus this one, it's more obvious how it's organized. Both of these energies would have to compromise to be effective. There's still creativity here, and there's still practicality. There's still, it logically makes sense why this small box is up here and this big one's here, and why these circles are here. But it's like allowing that room for creativity, being innovative about something. I don't know. This path, it's like energy one's like, no, this is the way to go. This is the path that always works. This is the path that is proven to work logically, right? And energy two being like, no, but this path would lead to more experience or more discoveries or things like that, right? And it's compromising and creating a path that leads to efficient, effective, practical ways of going about things, but also there's room for creative discovery, innovation. Anyways, rules are different. Wild ideas into real world use. Then I have trust here. I don't know why, but just trust. I don't know where that came from. Oh, it's because the childlike empress entrusts not Atreyu, Bastion with all that remains of her in that world, which is she gives him the last piece of sand that exists from her realm, and he recreates the world and revives her with it. So it's like she gives him this piece of sand, which is the last remaining. It's the last thing that remains from her realm that she rules, right? And she entrusts Bastion with that, and in turn he recreates the world and revives her with it. And it's like having that trust. Trusting the other energy, like trusting, if we're talking about like different ways of doing things, different ways of operating in some way. Trusting that even though it's, because I'm gonna say that these two energies have like dramatically different ways about going about things in some way, but it's important for them to trust one another, or trust their methods, or trust just their general ways, like trusting who they are as individuals in some way, despite the differences, understanding that there can be innovation, or that there's an opportunity for innovation in some way. Lastly, I'm supposed to talk about this dream I had, and it kind of makes sense now. It makes a lot more sense now that I've talked about this. Two different minds. Yeah, two different minds. Worlds apart. And that's going to lead me into my dream. Okay, so my dream, it's really quick. It's nothing major here. So my dream, okay, so I'm in space, right? Of course, because I'm in my dream. I'm in space, and there's these two planets, giant-ass planets. Let's just start here. And in my dream, they're on the path to one another. They're like heading right towards each other, and I'm like, in my dream, I'm just floating in space watching this about to happen, and I'm like, oh shit, this is not going to be good. This is going to be like a massive explosion or something, right? And they creep closer and closer together. And just at the moment of impact, right, it's like they intercept. And I've talked about this before, but I've never mentioned the dream. They start intercepting. And the moment of impact, what I thought was going to be impact, This all took maybe 10 seconds. This whole part of my dream was 10 seconds, if that. They didn't impact one, they didn't like collide with one another, leading to their destruction. And I'm kind of getting that, like there's something about energy 1 and energy 2 where it's like from like an outsider's perspective, or from their perspective, they're like coming together and like, oh, this is going to be bad, because it's like two energies that are very different, or two energies that logically seem like they destroy each other, or two energies that it's like something happens that is unexpected in some way. And this dream was maybe like 4 years ago. I don't know. It's random. I think about it all the time, though. Okay, so these two planets, right? Instead of colliding with colliding with one another and like being destroyed, they like morph into one. And after they morph into one, it's like, I'm trying to remember. I think there were different colors. Yeah, it was like one was blue and one was red or something like that. And it's like they morphed into one. The colors changed. Logically, I'd say purple, but I don't remember that in my dream. And so after they became one, it like rewound. It didn't rewind, but it appeared to, because then they separated. And as they moved away from each other, they were both like the same color. And I don't remember what color it was. I just remember noticing in the dream that after they came together, it didn't lead to their destruction, but it changed both of them. It changed them to reflect a combination of each. So it was like these two opposing forces were headed towards one another. It seemed like it was going to lead into destruction and chaos in some way, right? But as they like became one in a way, they changed. They both changed, and then they left. It's like they went like this, and then they passed one another, and they were forever like different. They took parts of the other. It's like, I don't know. There's something about that where it's like they came together, took parts of each other, and then carried on. I don't know what that is. It could make sense when we're talking about these two separate energies, right? Very different. It's like opposites. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's it. Have I covered everything? Childlike is important. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. If you stuck around for this, if you embraced this madness with me, I friggin' appreciate you. And I hope this resonated in some way, or the randomness part was challenging for me because I don't, like I said, it's like I try to know what the point is going to be, or like, but it was more like, I don't know, maybe there's a point. Maybe the point is that there is no point. Anyways, thank you for being here. If this resonated, I hope that it brought clarity and was beneficial in some way. Until next time, bye.